Yeah, well, it's a perfect segue. What I was going to ask you is, we've seen a transformation in swimming, probably since, when was the Steel Knocks thing? Is
that was in London.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that was a disaster, and they tipped the whole joint upside down, basically. And I know that you've had a big influence, or at least a big insight into what's happened there. And I was lucky enough, and I'll share it, maybe after you've given us some background, but to see an experience in Tokyo that really, to me, cemented an understanding of why they had so much success. And I know it's an area of interest for you, but it seems like they made a really big shift culturally in what they were trying to do. How do you think your experiences with swimming have been demonstrated through that, not only that coach development pathway, but what you've observed in terms of the organisational change?
Yep. Well, just a bit of background around swimming. We won the tender to sort of modernise their development and their high performance coaching programs, and to turn it into a 20th century type of or 21st century version, I should say, not 20th century. My role was, they gave me a curriculum, and so I turned it into an online blended learning program, and we developed the content for the courses in collaboration with senior coaches. And so I'd already known Rowan. We're going to talk about Rowan Taylor, but I'd known Rowan years ago because he was going to be a master's student of mine when I was a deacon. But I think he just got a bit busy and so on. So once I came on board with the development of the project, part of the role was to, I was writing the content, but I wanted to make sure that it was actually what coaches wanted and what they thought was important, but also to stick to the fundamental principles of pedagogy and all the sports sciences to make sure that they were getting that stuff as part of their training. And so a lot of the modules or units had to go past a committee of senior coaches in terms of, is it relevant? Does it actually meet the stuff that they think is important for that level of coaching? So we were able to do that. And I had the good fortune of connecting with Rowan and Lee Nugent, and these two guys were, at that stage, were in charge of coach development across pretty much eastern and southern Australia. So they were can't remember I think they were like coaching mentors. At that stage, Rowan was still coaching a squad of athletes. I don't think Lee was by that stage. But they were instrumental in setting up a really good system of engagement with all of the coaches at that sort of development level and high performance level, and interacting with them. So they based themselves at the VIS, and they'd either travel to, rather than asking the coaches to come in and do workshops, they would just jump in their car or jump on a plane and go out and spend time with the coaches, watching them, spending a week with them, and just helping them develop. And so that system worked really well. So it was a really good quality mentoring system.
Do you think that that's really important, like actually going into their space and being the fly on the wall, but then starting to give the feedback that they needed and asking questions and start to push them on, okay, where do we need to develop further? Why do you think that works better than bringing them in?
Because you, as an educator and mentor and developer, understand that coach's context very, very clearly. You can see.
I see this as a really big issue. I think with all professional development is it's you come to us rather than we go to you, and I think that's really, to me, it's really interesting because I think, as you said, you don't really understand how someone operates until you're in their space. And you get the contextual side of things. So it's interesting you say that was really successful for them to kind of implement.
Oh, absolutely. And they also then brought in Jaakko Verheerenen, who was the, apologies, Jaakko, for mispronouncing your name. After, I think that was after the whole Steel Knocks thing. So he came in, I think, in 2015, just prior to Rio. And changed the policy around selection, because prior to Rio, the selection was like an AA. You had to win at your national championship, and then that automatically got you on the team. But there was often 3 or 4 months between national championship, which was typically in March, and the elite competition, which was in August or September or whatever. So athletes can really
go
fall
all over
off.
the place. You get injured, whatever, get sick.
So Yarko basically said, no, our national championships and selection is always 6 weeks prior to the big event.
But
so
I think this is one